Christine, we awarded you with the 2020 Mary Latinsky Award, which we present to people who have had a career devoted to fighting abuse online and making the internet a safer place. Can you describe what led to your fight against spam in Brazil and how that started at CertBR?
Yeah, first of all, thank MOG, thank the award committee, because I think it's really good when we are recognized. So it's, I think, a very important award to recognize people that are not necessarily on the spotlight and that are doing something. And in my personal life, I started fighting spam around like 96, 97, when you were a sysadmin and you know the world is trying to abuse your systems. But it became more of a day job and a fight in 99 when I started working at CertBR. And we started reaching out to the ISPs, to the telecoms, for them to clean the networks. And I think 2005 was one of the major years because we had some policymakers looking at spam as a big problem, and then that actually gave it more importance than previously.
What was the state of the attack vectors back then? What was the biggest concern you had when you started looking into the state of the network?
Yeah, Brazil usually at that time figured in the top spamming countries. And I think 2009 we actually made some headlines as the king of spam. That was never good. So when you make those headlines, but it was not spamming Portuguese, and it was not like Brazilians sending spam. It was really abuse of infrastructure, and I think as most of the old days it goes, like people were more naive. They would set up the networks and they would not think about abuse. And our networks are being abused by spammers worldwide with open proxies, open relays, but I think especially broadband with open proxies. So at that time we started following like IGF, the Anti-Spam Technical Alliance, and then we discovered that MOG was also created. So it's, and trying to follow what the world was doing. So I think basically is how do you stop your country's network to be abused by third parties everywhere?
Of course, you're not doing this alone. You have a very strong team that has attended MOG and that we've worked with as part of our outreach initiative. Can you give us some information about your team and how you operate and how that's evolved?
Yeah, CertBR is a pretty small team. So we strongly believe in quality when it goes to people and not in quantity. So we are a 10 people team. We are doing instant handling, we're doing outreach. In the beginning it was just two of us, Klaus and me, so I mentioned Klaus in my speech because he's a technical manager. He did most of the spam research that we were doing, was actually part of his thesis, but we were really bringing all that information for Brazil and then later on to other countries. So our first step was really reaching out to Latin America. And lately we were able to dedicate some people more to go into that outreach. So one of those persons is Lucimara. She has been attending MOG more frequently than any other one. So she's now chair of the LAC-OG, I don't know if that's the way to say, but it's Latin American Anti-Abuse Working Group. And I think it's very important because all countries are in different stages of recognizing how much their networks are being abused, and we need to share success cases. So I think this is something that's very dear to us in our team. And we are also working with some other organizations who are pretty active in FIRST. We have been helping APWG, so really the idea is how to get everyone talking and pointing to the same direction, I think.